Hello, fellow alchemists. Welcome back to our series on using and consuming Absinthe. Now, last time we left off, we did a couple of queries, which was getting all of our tasks from our to-dos and also getting a single task. Now, the next thing that I'd like to do today is run through mutations. Now, a mutation is where you can actually do changes, aka mutate your data. So in this case, we want to be able to actually create and update our tasks. So let's go ahead and let's get started with that. First thing, of course, we always start with a test. So I'm going to create a new folder. Mutation. And in here we're going to have our test.exs. And then we're going to actually start doing our mutations now. And we're going to start off with our creation. So we need to create our actual test over here, similar to this. So it's a query, we're doing mutation just to kind of match our folder structure. We need to also bring in our concase. And so it's going to be Flutter Web API concase. Of course, we're just going to do a sync true. And now in this case, we need to set up a create task mutation. And we're going to have a mutation. It's good. Basically, it's going to follow actually similar style that we had with our querying. So actually, I'm just going to go ahead and grab this. Actually, this is a better one to grab, and I'll show you why in a moment. So we're going to be doing a mutation, of course. And we don't have an ID, we have a task. And then we have, of course, the type will be task input. I'm going to create the task. This one will be task. And of course, our input will be task. And I'm just going to go ahead and just return the name and the completed. Now the next thing is, of course, we actually need to do the real test itself. Can create task. We take our con from our con case. And now we need to actually just go ahead and write that. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to basically grab this because it's going to be extremely similar. Actually, this one's going to be more similar. Because we're going to want to get the name and the completed. So name, completed, this stuff is okay. I'm going to use the create task mutation. And for our variables, we're going to have a task to match our variable input. And I could basically just copy this because that's what I'm going to ask for it to come back. Now when we run our mix test, and I'm just going to run that test directly. And you see it doesn't work because we don't have any mutations. We didn't have the mutation block, which is exactly what this one's talking about. So in that case, we would go to here, go to our API, go to our schema. Just like query, we just make a mutation block. And then we have a description for this one, create a task. Field, we're going to match what we had before, which is going to be create task to match that. It's going to return the task itself, just the same as before, same as always. Our argument is going to be a task, and we're going to expect a non-null task input. So now we need to actually create that task input. So over here, we need to have an input object. It's going to be task input to match what we have. We can't use the same name, but we can use similar values. So in this case, these two are what we're going to have. And the nice part is that because we specified that it's non-null, we don't even have to worry about this kind of stuff of things being null and this forth, because actually GraphQL itself will catch it and won't even know about it. I can kind of show you that later on, but in this case we still need to write a resolver. So again, resolvers to-dos, and I'm going to say create task. They always have to be an arity of 3, so I'm just going to control click into here, do my create task. We're not going to need the root. We will, however, actually need task, which is going to be our task params. And again, we don't need context. Now, because our create task is already going to return a tuple of OK, so we can just go ahead and just directly just call to-dos create task, pass in our task params, and we should be good to go. And it looks like I have a problem where I returned get task. So that's what happens when you actually copy and paste. So this is quite simple. We need to match this part. If we run this again, you'll see it passes. So now the next thing is to actually update existing task. In this case, we can go ahead and we can bring in our fixtures from before. Flutter web. I'm just going to go ahead and copy and paste this. Fixtures, and here we're going to have a fixture of task. Fixtures. Sorry, we're going to alias this. Task fixture. So we have an example task to play with. For this one, I can probably also go ahead and build upon that. So this one's going to be an update. The task mutation. We will actually also need an ID in this case. So variable name of ID, and this one is a non-null ID. Simple ID, and this one will be update task. So now the next thing is we need to actually run through this query. So this is also going to be quite similar. For this one, I'm just going to write this one as being updated and set this one to be true, because I believe it's going to be different than that one. And this one true. This one, of course, is going to be updated. Pretty straightforward. The only thing, of course, so we don't forget, is we need to, of course, change our create task to be update task. So this is going to be quite interesting. Of course, this one will fail because we don't actually have that. I think create task mutation should be update task mutation. And it fails because we don't have that mutation. So again, we just go through the same kind of structure. Describe updates a task. Field update task. Return the task. Argument task. Basically, we can just steal that. But now the last thing is that we need to resolve similar style, and we also need one more thing, which is our ID argument, and this is also going to be non-null, this type of ID. So now what we can do, update task, root task params ID, task ID, context. And this one basically is going to be about the same because this one also returns that. But we still need to actually query for that task itself. So we can't be so simple. We need to grab our task. We have our todos.getTask, task ID, task params. Now if we run this, let's see, expected type of ID found null. Okay. Oh, I think I must have forgotten that in the test. So this one ID. There we go. Now, one last thing to do, which is if we actually have a task that doesn't exist, which I think should be pretty simple to do. We just need to return an error for them, and I'm just going to return a simple message. So cannot update non-existing task. So in this case, we can basically copy off of this, except we're not going to have a task this time, so I'm just going to put in a 1 in here. It doesn't really matter because we're not going to have any tasks in our database. This one we will be expecting a nil because there's actually nothing here. But we need to be able to handle the errors. In this case, it will be an array, and I want to return a message that says task does not exist. Now when we run this, of course it's going to fail because our query actually fails. And so now we just need to actually catch if there's nothing there. So pretty straightforward. What I need to do is, actually there's going to be two things I need to do. One is that the existing method that we're using is not the best. So I'm going to go to our update task. This will actually raise an error, and I actually just want to return nil. So what I can do is I can create a new method called getTask. Basically the same as before. In fact, I can just copy this. Except if I remove this bang, it's not going to return, it's not going to throw an exception. It's just going to just return nil. Now I can go to my resolvers and I can say that if nothing gets returned, then I can return an error. So if you return an error tuple, that's going to give you the errors, of course. Say the message is, what was my message again? Test does not exist. Otherwise, if the task does exist, then we can just return this. Let me see. Oh, sorry, I didn't use my new method. That's why. Okay, there we go. So that's how we can do some simple mutations. So we can query for some tasks. We can now update and also create some tasks. And now the next thing I'm going to do is probably start to show you guys how we can use Flutter to actually consume our API. So this is Alan from Plangora. Please catch us next time, and I'll see you guys then. Thanks. Bye. Hi. Please feel free to ask us any questions about Elixir, Flutter, or anything else in programming. Here's our YouTube channel, Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We'll answer your questions every Friday. 有問題記得問我，有問題記得問我。